Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. That's Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and I'm Tyler Mergovich, bringing you our 2010 SEC awards and predictions. A lot of tough games for these teams in conference, out of conference too. LSU, Georgia, Vanderbilt came down to me. I'm taking LSU as a tough schedule, even though they avoid Georgia. Non-conference, they have North Carolina at a neutral site to open up the season. They host West Virginia, but they're also at Florida, Auburn, and Arkansas. Three very tough games.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. LSU does have a tough schedule. That's a tough slate. West Virginia is going to compete in the Big East, and you also mentioned North Carolina has an outstanding defense that can give that offensive LSU some problems. So I'm going with LSU, but also keep an eye on Vandy's schedule as well.
Best recruiting class, I think this is a no-brainer. It's Florida and Urban Meyer. He brings in the defensive linemen Ronald Powell, Sharif Floyd, and Dominique Easley. He brings his defensive backs Matt Elam and Jonathan Dowling, and two playmakers on offense, running back Mac Brown and Chris Dunkley. So Florida's doing it over and over again every year with Urban.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. Florida does have an outstanding recruiting class. When you lose a lot of players on defense, the best thing to do is get more players on defense. They did that this year with that recruiting group they brought in. Sharif Ford is going to be outstanding D-tackle, and Powell is going to be outstanding defensive end.
And now for the best pro prospect, you go offensive lineman Lee Ziemba. I love him at Auburn. Gerald Poe, Dante Hightower, even though he's only a sophomore. Pat Peterson, the cornerback from LSU. Janoris Jenkins, A.J. Green, Julio Jones, Mark Ingram, Ryan Mallett's mine. I'm going with Mallett. I think he's going to be a stud. I think if he went last year, he'd be the best quarterback in the draft. I don't know if they take him, but he's going to develop into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
I'm going with Patrick Peterson from LSU. Cornerback is a premium position in the NFL, and if you have a chance to be a lockdown corner and you have to select him and he has that look, 6'1", 205, 210 pounds, speed, can catch interceptions, so he's a tremendous player. Also, A.J. Green, outstanding wide receiver. He's athletic. He reminds me a lot of Charles Rogers and his athleticism coming out of Michigan State. So those two guys are my pro prospects.
Well, team on the rise, I'm going to go with the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. You know, Dan Mullen stepping on Houston Nutt's toes over there in the state of Mississippi. He's getting a lot of recruits in to run that spread. At Florida, at the offensive coordinator, they average over 40 points per game, so it's a lot to sell. Defensively, he's going to bring them in. So I think Mississippi State, they're going to be looking up these next couple of years.
So I'm going to pick two out of the East and the West. Out of the East, I'm going with South Carolina. I love their recruiting base that Steve Spurrier has produced. South Carolina is a fertile ground for recruits, so they have a lot of talent on their team. And West, I'm going with Arkansas. Petrino has brought a lot of talented playmakers into that program, so Arkansas is going to be a solid team, a team to be reckoned with out the West once everybody from Alabama graduates.
And best offensive player, I think you got to stick with the Heisman Trophy winner. It's Mark Ingram in that system. So many rush attempts. They bring the offensive line in. They're going to give him the rock. Trent Richardson's going to spell him. So I think Ingram will be the offensive player of the year.
I'm going with your boy, Ryan Mallett. Is going to be the offensive player of the year in Arkansas. I look for him to take that next step toward greatness. So I look for Mallett to be the offensive MVP.
And defensive player, I'm going to go with my sleeper, Ahmad Black. I love this guy. He's all over the field all the time at safety for Florida. It's kind of a sleeper, even though you got a bunch of other guys. But I think Ahmad Black is going to really need to step up with that young defense, and he's going to be a leader there.
I'm going in the secondary with Stephon Gilmore out of South Carolina. He was an outstanding true freshman last year. They made a lot of big plays and came up big in big games. Look for him to take the next step again this year to be even greater cornerback this season, and he's going to get a lot of playmaking ability on offense in that wild cock formation that they have in South Carolina. So expected him to see him back there at quarterback as well.
And SEC East winner, you go first.
SEC East, I'm going with Georgia. I think Georgia has enough to surprise Florida this year. Florida has a lot of questions on defense, and they lost a lot of talent. I think Georgia right now is in a perfect spot to take Florida in the East. And in the Western Division, I'm going with Alabama. It's tough to pick against a team that returns all those starters on defense, returns a Heisman Trophy winning running back, talented top 5 wide receiver in the country, and an outstanding quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. You got to go to Alabama and Georgia.
Well, I'm going to go with South Carolina in the East. It's coming down to Florida or South Carolina. I think Georgia has a little tougher schedule, but I'm going to go out of the box here, go with South Carolina, even though Stephen Garcia worries me a little bit. I'm going to take them over Florida. And I love Auburn, but I'm going to take Alabama over Arkansas. I think too much defense. I think Arkansas is really to be reckoned with. Auburn too, but I'm going to go with South Carolina and Alabama in the SEC championship game. For more, visit footballgameplan.com/NCAA or check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/footballgameplan.